have breaking news. Former Congressman says he is withdrawing from consideration for Attorney General amid allegations of sexual misconduct.
To say it was a bad week for Matt Gaetz is a major understatement, but it's not over. California court said that him and Marjorie Taylor Greene may owe hundreds of thousands of dollars to civil rights groups like the ACLU and the League of Women Voters. My name is Dina Doll with the MeidasTouch Network. Let's break this down.
Some House Republicans really don't want that information to be made public. I don't know why, but Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia has even resorted to threatening members of her own party to that end. Quote, "For my Republican colleagues in the House and Senate, if we are going to release ethics reports and rip apart our own that Trump has appointed, then put it all out there for the American people to see. Yes, all the ethics reports and claims, including the one I filed, all your sexual harassment and assault claims that were secretly settled, paying off victims with taxpayer money. The entire Jeffrey Epstein files, tapes, recordings, witness interviews, but not just those. There's more. Epstein isn't the only asset. If we're going to dance, let's all dance in the sunlight. I'll make sure we do." Now, of course, there's some, grain of salt, consider the source, conspiratorial ruminations there. But, if there's a lot of this going around the Republican members of Congress, I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. We should know about it. Now, the Congresswoman provided no evidence such reports exist, but we do know that the Gaetz ethics report exists. We do know, according to a lawyer for some women, that they testified about what he did. And if this man is going to not just have a job in the administration, run the Department of Justice, I think the American public deserves to see it.
In 2021, Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene went to California with their Put America First rally. They tried to go to Orange County, which is normally friendlier to Republicans, but this time, nobody wanted them. They first tried to go to Laguna Hills, but the private facility there canceled on them. Then they went to Riverside and Anaheim. And the cities felt as if it was not safe because there was so much backlash as a result of them trying to go from location to location that protests came out around them speaking. And so they denied them the chance to be able to speak at the convention centers there. And so what do Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz do? Of course, they decide to sue the cities of Riverside and Anaheim. And not only that, but they decide to sue civil rights groups, local civil rights groups, and groups like the League of Women Voters and ACLU. Why do they decide to sue those groups? For speaking out. Yes, they didn't like the fact that they didn't get a chance to speak, and so they sued these nonprofits for the audacity of talking about the fact that they weren't welcome in their cities. And this didn't work out so well for Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. The dismissal of the case against these nonprofits was swift and fierce. And the case against the cities, he agreed to a dismissal of those as well because they didn't have the facts and the law on their side. And now these nonprofits need their attorney's fees paid, and these fees amounted to hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to defend this frivolous claim. Let's hear what the court had to say about it. Specifically, the court said that, quote, "The effect of plaintiffs' unprecedented and stunningly deficient pleading, hauling 9 civil rights groups into federal court for speaking out against an event, should shock in equal measures civic members from across the political spectrum," end quote. That's what the judge had to say when dismissing the case. That's how little the facts were. That's how little the law was. When Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene decide to sue cities like Riverside, that is actually majority Republican, and they have to spend their own city attorney fees fighting this frivolous claim against them. That's what they really think about those Republican voters, Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. They don't care that their taxpayer dollars could actually be used better, but they had such hurt feelings about not being able to have their rally that they decide to sue the city, which everything, as we said, has gone away now because of such little facts and law. But not only that, the law that they were trying, Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene was trying to use against these nonprofits was the KKK Act. Yes, the very act meant to protect people are being used against them. And specifically, to bring the claim, plaintiffs relied on a 150-year-old civil rights law intended to prevent the KKK from their violent and vigilante acts to deprive voters of their rights. This is what the NAACP is saying in their motion requesting the attorney's fees. And they say, quote, as this court found, the claim was utterly without merit. Fortunately, federal law provides a mechanism to discourage the misuse of such important federal civil rights actions by allowing parties who have been wrongly and frivolously accused of recouping their attorney fees. And I know one of the lawyers who is trying to get their attorney's fees. This went on for years. The fact that they were having to fight Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz because they couldn't hold this rally. And Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, using the KKK Act against the ACLU and against the League of Women Voters because they had the audacity to speak out against their rally. And the courts there finding this to be as outrageous as it is and finding enough of an outrageousness to dismiss it. And here now, seemingly, we're waiting to hear what the court has to say, but most likely the court is going to award hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney fees that Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene will have to pay. When the House Ethics Committee was deciding whether or not to release their report into Matt Gaetz, which now so much of has been leaked, we've seen all of the evidence of his sex trafficking of underage girls, paying for sex. The New York Times web shows how rampant it all is. Well, it was Marjorie Taylor Greene that came out in his defense. And what did she say? She said that if this report was going to come out, that she was then going to tell on the rest of the Republican colleagues who have had sexual harassment claims filed against him with the House. Well, I say, Marjorie Taylor Greene, why don't you still go ahead and do that? Because now you have piqued my interest. In fact, from 1997 to 2017, the House has paid $17 million in settlements from sexual harassment claims against Congress members. $17 million in taxpayer money. So I say, let's go ahead and let it all get out, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Maybe you should still be upset that Matt Gaetz was outed enough that he didn't get his job. Perhaps you still want to do that. We would love to sit back and, as we say, get our popcorn and hear about all those other claims.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.